Level 1, Lost Genius. You have a loving family, a dad with a decent paying job you know nothing about, a 4.0 GPA at an Ivy League, a girlfriend everyone wants. Life is perfect, almost too perfect. Then comes graduation. You look for a job, but every application is met with rejection. One after another, your debt piles up, your girlfriend cheats on you. You're broke, completely alone, sitting in your car at 2 a.m., wondering where it all went wrong. You start to become hopeless and desperate. What you don't know is that your entire reality is rigged. None of this was an accident, and you are about to play a deadly game with no exit. Level 2, Offer. You come home. There's a white envelope on your doorstep. No sender. You open it. Inside is a card that reads, "The moth does not find the light. The light calls the moth." The next morning, your phone rings. It's an offer from JP Morgan. They're handing you a 6-figure salary for a role you barely even interviewed for. One signature clears your debts overnight. You don't ask questions. You immediately accept the offer. Overnight, your life changes. You buy a massive house and a sports car. You are on top of the world. But something feels wrong. The money is real, but your life feels fake, like a fever dream. You know you didn't earn this. One evening, a private dinner with your boss. He leans in and hands you a piece of information. The exact hotel where a prominent senator meets a military contractor's wife, and her full name. He doesn't warn you not to tell. The consequence is already clear. If this leaks, you are the one who disappears. Your blood runs cold. You can never speak to anyone about your life again. Level 3, Informant. Your boss calls you in and gives you your first real assignment. He wants names, not numbers. He tells you to write down who drinks too much, who talks too freely, who's living beyond their salary. They tell you it's just to identify executive talent. So you do it. You write down the names of the guys you eat lunch with every day, and you slide the folder across your boss's desk. You expect a fat bonus check, but nothing happens. The next morning, you walk into your office, and sitting dead center on your desk is a mysterious black phone. It only has one contact saved. Suddenly, it rings. It's the managing director, and he's talking to you like a close friend. You are now officially in the inner circle. They hand you these heavy, unmarked books. You're reading ancient philosophy, strategy, and the dark side of human nature. They are teaching you how to weaponize human desperation. You sit back in your expensive leather chair and look out the glass window at the coworkers you just sold out. You don't feel an ounce of guilt. You just look at them and realize they aren't people anymore. They're tools. Level 4, Shepherd. You spent months building files on everyone in the office, and things start happening to those people. The guy who drank too much resigned. The one who often complained was transferred to another city. The manager with gambling debt, gone. They aren't asking for your reports anymore. They don't need to. You've graduated. Your black phone rings. The voice gives you a target, a young analyst at a competing firm, smart and hungry, drowning in student loans. He's sitting in his apartment wondering where it all went wrong. You know exactly what this is because it's what happened to you. So you do it. You find a way into his life through a mutual connection. You ask the right questions and you watch his face. You see it. That same desperate hope you had sitting in your car 2 years ago. You write the report and send it in. 2 weeks later, he calls you, excited. He got an offer out of nowhere. 6 figures. You congratulate him and hang up. It's the same playbook, the same look on your face that you just saw on his. Years ago, you were recruited. And now, you're the one recruiting. Level 5, Phantom. One morning, your assets and personal properties are stripped away. Bank accounts vanish. The black phone goes silent. No more assignments, no more recruiting. Your whole world falls apart, leaving you completely hollow. Then one night, your phone buzzes, not the black phone. The alcove on East 61st, 8 p.m., gray suit, table 6. Watch him. Don't approach. You do it. You sit there for 2 hours watching a man eat dinner alone. He orders wine, checks his phone, tips the waiter. Nothing happens. He pays and leaves. You leave. The next morning, that man's face is on the news. Dead. Heart attack, they say. Alone in his hotel room. You'll never know what actually happened, but you know you were part of it. A few days later, a letter arrives. Thick paper, with a wax seal, an address, and a time. You show up because what else do you have left? They take everything: your watch, phone, wallet. They blindfold you, place a rope around your neck, and lead you barefoot across cold stone into a dark room. You kneel at an altar, a skull and 2 candles. You swear an oath. The words are heavy, deliberate, and final. The blindfold comes off. A federal judge is standing 3 feet from you. Behind him, a CEO, a retired general, a congressman. Faces you've only seen on screens are now looking directly at you. The judge gives you a coded handshake. Someone says, "Welcome, brother." They call themselves the Order. An hour ago, you were nothing. Now, the most powerful people you've ever seen are treating you like family. Level 6, Mirror. Everything you lost comes back overnight. The money, the property, the access. But now, you understand, none of it was ever yours. It can be given and taken away just as easily. You're told to write monthly reports about yourself, your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities, your fears, debts, and secrets. Behavioral management, they call it. Members of the Order quietly vanish. Chairs that used to be occupied sit empty. You never ask what happened to them. A senior member casually mentions what happens to those who are no longer useful. They don't get removed. They get erased. A member starts asking too many questions. You are told to make him disappear. Soon after, he's gone, never to be seen again. You spend your days watching everyone around you. Then one night, it hits you. Someone is reading your personal reports the same way you once read those files on your colleagues. You stared into the mirror for so long, you didn't notice someone staring back. Level 7, Blackmail Broker. You reach Master Mason, the highest official rank in Freemasonry. You wear the ring. You think you've reached the top. Then a quiet conversation shatters the illusion. Freemasonry was just the vehicle, not the destination. The rituals, the handshakes, the oaths, they were nothing but a massive filter designed to find people exactly like you. Millions of men will die completely blind to what operates underneath. You are introduced to the persona mystica. There are no more lodge meetings. Orders are delivered anonymously. You also discover the truth about your own past. You were assigned a code name years ago. Every rank you climbed, every task you completed, every confession you wrote, it all fed into a master profile you were never meant to see. You were tracked from day one. But your loyalty is rewarded. You are handed a private island you are there to host. You invite the most powerful people on Earth, politicians, CEOs, royalty. You pour the drinks and set the atmosphere. Your only job is to make them comfortable enough to make mistakes. Every conversation, every slip, recorded and filed as leverage. You are the friendly face, the trap with a smile. You don't own the footage, the Order does. You think holding their secrets makes you untouchable, until the day you become a liability and the cameras in your holding cell quietly turn off. Level 8, Director. You were never the man in the cell. You are the man who ordered the cameras turned off. The island, the parties, the footage. That was your operation. When the operator became useless, you made the call. Your name isn't in any database. If someone searched for you right now, they'd find nothing. You don't exist. That's the point. A flash drive arrives on your desk. It contains a 5-second audio clip of a senator saying something that would destroy his life. You make one untraceable phone call and play the clip. The next morning, a bill that had been stalled for 2 years passes without any opposition. You do this weekly. A CEO resigns. A stock crashes on schedule. A currency collapses on command. It only takes a single call. You sit at a table with 11 others. Each one controls a sector: banking, media, defense, energy. The institutions the public thinks are independent answer to this room. Now that you control the board, it's time to play. Then a black envelope arrives. Inside is a single sentence. You open it. It reads, "Begin with Iran." Level 9, Puppeteer. You engineer regime change. You pull out of a nuclear deal with Iran. You position warships in the Gulf. You assassinate their most powerful military commander on a foreign airport road. You fund protests inside the country through channels that can't be traced. You pay off generals inside their own military. Then one morning, the bombs fall. Iran's supreme leader is killed in the opening minutes. The strait closes. Oil hits $110 a barrel. A new government takes its place. The first deal they sign is worth $40 billion. With a company the order owns, your share alone is worth hundreds of millions. The news calls it a war. You're reviewing the returns in your compound when you notice a file on your desk. Level 10, the Bloodline. Inside is a black and white photograph, decades old. 7 men standing outside a building in Basel, Switzerland. You recognize the building, but the man standing second from the left, he has your last name. You were born into the order. The dad with the decent paying job you knew nothing about. He was sitting where you're sitting now, decades before you were born. Every rank you climbed, every test you passed, it was designed by your own bloodline. This is what they built for you. You pick both presidential candidates 3 years before the election. You fund both sides through networks that can't be traced. Whoever the public votes for, your employee takes office. A leader in the Middle East starts selling his oil in euros instead of dollars. 3 years later, his country is invaded. He's pulled from a hole in the ground and executed on camera. Another leader tries the same thing with a gold-backed currency for an entire continent. Within a year, bombs are falling. He's dragged through the streets and killed. You didn't have to do anything. The system does it for you. You write the money policy for the next 10 years and hand it to the head of the Federal Reserve. He reads it on live television like it was his own idea. 63 central banks, 95% of the world's money, all operating inside one building in Basel, the same building from the photograph, the Bank for International Settlements. The people who run them are appointed, not elected. You decide who gets appointed. You own the people who print the money. But the system your bloodline built is aging. Cracks are forming. So you do what your family has always done. You build the replacement. Level 11. The Architect. You commission a 9-page white paper and publish it under a fake name. Satoshi Nakamoto. You mine 1.1 million coins in the first 2 years, worth over $100 billion. And then you make Satoshi disappear. The world thinks someone just freed them from the banks. Everything is going as planned. Phase 2 is central bank digital currencies. Every transaction and wallet is tracked permanently. The public welcomes it because you spent 15 years teaching them to trust digital money through Bitcoin first. Then you build the AI bubble. You fund a lab with a CEO who talks about saving humanity. Behind the scenes, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Oracle just pass hundreds of billions of dollars back and forth to each other. When you decide the bubble pops, trillions of dollars evaporate. You shorted every stock in the loop 6 months before the crash. Your profit is in the hundreds of billions. The data centers, the chips, the surveillance infrastructure are now in your hands. A research team funded by your network develops a cure for cancer. You buy the patent and lock it in a vault. Chemotherapy is a $220 billion industry. The cure exists. It's just not for sale. But controlling technology and money isn't enough. To complete the next phase, you need to control the one thing people will never give up voluntarily: their freedom. You need a crisis. Level 12, the Sovereign. You fund a lab, a virus emerges, the world shuts down. You step in and sell governments the solution: vaccines, digital IDs, and tracking systems. But the virus was just a distraction. While everyone was afraid, you bought up the crashed economy for pennies. Then you buy the farmland and privatize the water. You don't need armies to conquer countries anymore. You just cut their food and water supply until they sign whatever you want. 7 billion people live inside your system and no one knows your name. Then an order comes down from the inner circle. It's time for the final phase. Level 13, the Enlightened One. You walk into a 500-year-old vault. Inside are manuscripts older than any holy book. Every prophecy ever written is mapped out in your family's handwriting. The prophecies are just a checklist, and you start engineering the conditions. Your puppet governments demolish temples. You turn the entire world against one country. Every sanction and military buildup is a verse being fulfilled. Then you destroy everything your bloodline built. You crash markets and cut supply chains. The world thinks it's the end of days. It is, because you're making it happen. When the world is on the verge of collapse, you introduce the one person whose face and lineage perfectly fit the prophecy. But alone in the vault, a thought hits you. What if you didn't write the prophecies? What if your ancestors found them and just followed them? What if you were never the author? You look at the ink. It's older than your family name. For the first time in your life, you're afraid.